Welcome back to the Sun and Moon Tarot. Today we will find what is good and what is hidden. I hope you're well and staying blessed, enjoying life wherever you are. This is a love read for my water signs for the season of Virgo. If you do have Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces in your Venus placement, this reads for you. Hope you're enjoying the season. Please like, share, subscribe. If you would like to book with me, that information's in the description box below. You have the Page of Swords for your first card, water signs. The King of Swords for your second card. A lot of logic here, a lot of thinking in your love read, which is peculiar for water signs, in my opinion. But you're being incredibly curious and thinking head over heart. You're thinking logic. You're thinking with your mind over your heart in your love life. And you're being very curious about your surroundings, which is leading, beautiful, I see why, okay, which is leading to inner happiness. There's going to be a happy surprise where you get, like, ultimately emotional stability, the dreams, the love that you want, that will appear. You're being logical because I see you are being logical because of past heartbreak. So you're being incredibly logical in your past energy to current energy about anything to do with your love life due to being harmed in some way, shape, or form in the past. That is why, water signs, you're being so logical and so careful ultimately, which is a little bit uncharacteristic for a water sign. Very touchy-feely, so for you to be very airy instead is different, but it's because you've been through something and you're really just trying to think things through before you make any decisions that could lead to more pain. And in your future, you do have the Three of Pentacles appearing, a collaboration, some sort of teamwork building together. You have responsibility, burdens, appearing with the Ten of Wands there. And you have some sort of a loss, need, insecurity, potentially poverty, potentially insecurity of some sort in another manner in your future. So we'll talk more about that in just a moment. Your clarifying cards are flipped right here, my beautiful water signs. Bottom of the deck, you do have the Wheel of Fortune. So this is just an interesting read. You've been hurt in the past, which is why you're being super careful. Super duper duper careful. The wheel is representing fate, karma, destiny, fortune, and cycles. So that could vary, right? That depends on where you are in terms of life, where you are in terms of karma, where you are, all the different realms of how you can be and what you can be in, etc. So you're being super logical in your recent past to current energy, and you're being curious as well because you really want to create a stable relationship in your love life, it would seem. And in your future, so the Knight of Cups is representing, like, either you're dreaming in your current energy about some, like, sort of love relationship, or you're becoming more sensitive due to, like, a happy surprise in your relationship or in your love life in some way, shape, or form. The Three of Pentacles is that teamwork, that collaboration in your future. So it's fated. This teamwork is collaboration. If it's a new relationship, if it's building upon a current relationship or an old relationship, it's fated. It's destined. And it's going to be burdensome. It's going to be hard work. It could lead to need. It could lead to like being insecure with resources, or it could lead to any other type of insecurity, like yeah, it could lead to like any type of insecurity, whether that's personal insecurity, whether that's like feeling like you are unable to create relationships, and an insecurity in that. So there's some sort of warning here in the future about you, like, ultimately I think water signs, like, you're supposed to learn a lesson from a past relationship, and I think it's like when you collaborate and you try to build, yes, it's fated, yes, it's destined, yes, it's loving, it's romantic, it's worth it, right? But if it is too much relationship, it will lead, or excuse me, if it's too much responsibility and too much burden, it will lead to this for you. It will lead to some sort of insecurity. And that's ultimately the warning. So when you take on new relationships, or when you build with current relationships, remember that. Remember that taking on too much will lead ultimately to failure for you. Okay? And these are your clarifying cards, which just like literally seconds that. You have the Six of Pentacles and Three of Swords. 33 appears here, so high is good. And 2 10s appear here, so 10-10 completion. So a cycle is being completed for you. And you are, I think, learning a lesson about collaborations, on how to... In your past, I hope you learned this lesson, and it's not a current one for you. But ultimately, with this card appearing here, like, if you've watched my channel, you'll hear me say this kind of often. This card represents charity, generosity, giving. You'll hear a lot of other readers call it the breadcrumbing card. And in my past reads, I've talked about how this card can be a breadcrumbing card, but it just depends on what the cards are around this, right? So unfortunately, this is one of those times where this does represent breadcrumbing. You have in your past been overly generous in a relationship, and people have used you for that. And you're supposed to learn a lesson here, that if your relationship is in any way too burdensome for you, you need to communicate that. You need to be honest with that person, because like, if you are honest with someone about that, and they are willing to step up and take on like hard work and not continue to put it on you, then that is meant for you. But if they are not, then they're using you. And you don't want to get to a place where you're bonded with someone and being heartbroken repeatedly and suffering grief ultimately because you're with someone that's using you and has kind of deceived you and tricked you into a place where you are potentially even like insecure. You don't have like security in your own self, and like to that extent, it could be like extreme extent of toxicity here that we're talking about, where you feel like you can't live without the person and you have to provide for them, and etc. But you needed to learn this lesson in the past, and in the future you need to remember the lesson and to not be overly giving. Be generous, be that person, be loving, be caring, be compassionate. There's nothing wrong with being you, water signs. But remember that people aren't all like you, and that some of them are out for themselves only, and that you have to protect yourself. That's not like, that is in the highest good. You protecting yourself is in the best nature for you and for that person, because you don't want to enable people. That's not a better lesson. You should always stand up for yourself, right? So please learn the lesson. That's why 10-10's here. Completion. You can do it. 33. It's in your highest good. You can do it. Okay. All right, water signs. I hope you have a beautiful season. I hope you heed the warning. And I will see you in the next read.